called? Send an agent and banish.
All right, well, our players are ready. So this is one of the TNE matches with the most on the line. So let's head down to r3as0n versus aReNGee. All right, welcome everybody to your top four. We've got r3as0n at the bottom of your screen, keeping a hand of 2 Xenon Silex, a Time Etchings, a Sandstorm Titan, a Tokas, and a Banish. r3as0n really rubbing it in on me with these mismatching Tokases. On the other side of things, aReNGee kept 4 power, Equalize, Know Thy Enemy, and Argenport Blueprints.
Imagine what will happen if someone have 4 cards all in different forms, like two, two, two premium, like 1 premium alternate art, 1 premium usual art, and the same with not premium card. What would you say for that?
Yeah, premium, yep. Regular premium, yep. All right. Just a little bit of development here for both of these players. This isn't really an aggro matchup per se.
aReNGee have that equalize to deal with the board that r3as0n would eventually have.
Yeah, and r3as0n, if you think about that play, was really interesting. r3as0n had the opportunity to play Time Sigil into Tokas, but instead went with Scout into Shifted Devotee of the Sand. So kind of a safe play there. It still kind of accomplishes the same thing. You get a shifted unit instead of a Tokas, but it kind of protects it a little bit and allows you to play your Scout power. So I kind of like that play
Yeah,
from r3as0n.
because you need to actually click a unit to sacrifice it for equalize. Shifted units are kind of safe from equalize, but on the other hand, opponent can play their own unit and then equalize, and you won't have an option of what you want to keep.
Right.
You would have to keep shifted units.
Right. So aReNGee gonna slam that turn 5 Siditi, warped off the top of the deck. r3as0n gonna follow up with an exploit on r3as0n's turn here. See a Know Thy Enemy, Equalize, Slay, and 2 copies of Wasteland Broker.
Yeah, banish of course after its buff now hits Siditi. But yeah, and because there was no onslaught, there was no curse on r3as0n, so no additional draw for aReNGee.
r3as0n's gonna be able to take care of that Siditi cleanly, but a little bit behind on cards. I guess it's about even, but Know Thy Enemy, Slay, and 2 copies of Wasteland Broker for aReNGee. r3as0n's got removal. This Grodov's Burden is big, though.
aReNGee on one hand is kind of looted because he already have up to 8 power and his deck cursive at 5. But I guess 2 Wasteland Brokers are actually quite good, because Wasteland Brokers kind of diversity slot. You can add whatever you need versus exact opponents, so it's kind of sideboard.
Yeah.
What would be a sideboard function in Magic?
So aReNGee went and put Speaking Circle in with the first Wasteland Broker. So there are 4 copies of Speaking Circle floating around the top of the deck. And then the second play is going to be a Valkyrie Enforcer here, and that's going to silence the Devotee of the Sand. Follow up with a second copy of Wasteland Broker. And the options are Cast into Shadow, Vara's Authority, Regent's Tomb, or Inquisitor Mokdo. And it's going to be Inquisitor Mokdo is going to go in. So now we've got Inquisitor Mokdo in there, as well as the Speaking Circle. So lots of gas coming off the top for aReNGee. And there's the first one, Speaking Circle, right off the top. That's where you put it with the Wasteland Broker, and there you go, paid off.
Interesting, because I thought Casting the Shadow is really a star versus r3as0n's deck. But I guess aReNGee have other plans.
We see a Disjunction, Secret Pages, neither of those super valuable here. And then a Retribution, not bad. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. The Disjunction is great. It hits the Grodov's Burden.
That's true.
Never mind. I didn't see it, but yeah, the Grotto's burn going down. That's actually great for RNG. Now you got the decision of whether you want to keep the circle. And yes, RNG is going to sacrifice Chump Block a 3/3 to keep the circle. Reason going to follow up with a Moonstone Vanguard. It's a little interesting that because of the unit dying, you're no longer Onslaught the Retribution. Now you can still silence and stun one of these. Maybe like the Moonstone Vanguard, silence and stunning that would be pretty decent. And then follow up with Inquisitor Mokdo. So you gotta love when you you gotta love when you
Yes,
Wasteland Broker 2 cards and then you hit Speaking Circle and Mokdo as your next 2 draws.
We hunt as a pack.
that's correct.
Hey Marvin the Imp,
Now,
thank you so much for a 4-month subscription. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much for supporting us and supporting TNE. And everybody give TNT a check. So Team Not Tavrod, what Marvin puts together, also runs tournaments. They run these tournaments each week. They're a little bit different than these. You kind of play them at your own schedule. You play them offline, and there are some different fun formats like Hero and Pauper and Peasant. So give them a try for sure.
that's huge draw for reason.
Yeah, that is
Huge
huge. Look at that. Draw 6
cards
cards.
for 6.
Turns out D'Angelo Might's still good at 6.
I mean, I guess it's probably the least nerfed cards out of nerfs.
Yeah. Well, I've got that Mokdo. Well, interesting. We'll have to see some RNG is going to need some RNG to see if we can get those Mokdos back without having to cast them again. Well, there's another Mokdo. So we got Mokdo number 2, and there's another one floating around on the top of the deck somewhere.
That's true.
All right, Xenon Insignia off the top. Now, without that Grodov's Burden, some of the shenanigans, if you will, for Reason are shut off. Now Reason has to play a little bit more of a fair game, but is able to go to the market. Got Toka, Xenon Temple, Nash, Valiant Guardian, Behold the Truth are your options.
Yes, and any game with Valiant Guardian, I don't think it can be called. Actually,
Okay,
they go
Nash.
not for Valiant Guardian, for Nash.
Yeah, that's a good way to deal with Mokdo too. It puts it on the bottom of
that's
the
good.
owner's deck. How about Mokdo number 3 in a row?
So we have one Mokdo in the top of the deck, one at the bottom of the deck.
Pretty sure that's like a magic trick you could do with a deck of cards. It's like one on top, one on the bottom, and then one somewhere in the middle, and then one in play.
That's true.
Well, that Mokdo was not on top, and unfortunately for RNG,
Yeah, I think aReNGee is pretty
well,
dead.
putting the Destiny Mokdo on top, but it might be too late at this point. I guess there's no harm in doing it, but game. The Reason going to take game number 1, really important game number 1 over RNG. Congratulations, Reason. All right, 1 game away. 1 game away from the finals.
It's true. Both aReNGee and the Reason are fantastic players. They play for a long time because I remember them from the time before I made the break. Journal for 2 years.
You know, we've seen a ton of Argenport tonight. We've seen a couple different decks, but we haven't seen too much of this Xenon deck. But Reason 5-0 and up a game here in the top 4, and it's kind of quietly beating everyone that Reason is playing against. You think maybe we might have the TNE effect where you might start seeing this deck quite a bit this weekend?
Actually, interesting that we had 4 Argenport decks and 3 Argenport mid decks, and all of them made it to the cut.
Is it 3 or 4? Is it 3 Argenport mid versus RNG's Xenon? That's funny.
Yes, and the only Argenport that didn't made it was actually even Argenport. So.
All right, let's make sure our players know that they are good to go. Don't need to wait for us here.
Sure. And to be honest, I think I will play Argenport in TNE, in the Open.
Mm-hmm.
They came to this conclusion even before this, but after this,
giving away your secrets.
Probably
gotta keep that quiet, Crosh.
I mean, with the way the Open is placed, it's not really that much of a secret what you are playing.
Yeah. All right. Xen and Silex, just some developing for both players here. That D'Angelo might looking pretty already in Reason's hand. It's a little early for it, but just knowing that you have the opportunity to draw a ton of cards coming up. World Bearer Behemoth into D'Angelo Might is going to be quite the 5-6 punch. Well, maybe even wait on the Grodov Strange. We'll have to see how the game goes, but that is going to be quite the play there. aReNGee has Exploit and Annihilate here. That's nice on your turn 4 to be able to both Exploit and Annihilate. Take out your Tokas and then Exploit.
I guess 6-7 have to go.
Yeah, probably. No, they're just going to take
No,
the D'Angelo
I
Might. Yeah, so I'll deal with your threats, but I'm not dealing with you buying six
Oh yes,
more cards.
I guess aReNGee just will keep Annihilate for
Yeah.
6-7.
And that's kind of smart. I guess that's a good reason to exploit first versus annihilating the Tokas and then exploiting, is that you see a much bigger threat that you need to deal with, so you hold on to your annihilate.
Now it's kind of mind games. Maybe I need to play 5-5 to bait out Annihilate, because I think Reason have to make the assumptions that aReNGee have Annihilate based on the fact that aReNGee discarded that Golemite.
Yeah,
Golosmite.
I think you're right, but the tough thing for aReNGee is that all of these threats are kind of must answer, right? Like you can't just leave that Moonboon Vanguard there either, so gonna have to annihilate there. But you're right, it kept.
That's true, but he have one more removal for anything that Reason would play. So
yeah, that is true.
I think it's much better. He's in much better shape than game 1.
And Reason can go to the market here. I wonder if Reason is going to grab that Nash to take care of the Siditi cleanly. No, I'm going to go with the Grodov's Burden first. That's the more powerful card.
And it can also get rid of Siditi.
Right, that's true. They both can. Why? You have 2 cards that can get rid of Siditi. Why don't you play the one that gives you a better long-term effect?
Well, but for that reason, need an undepleted power.
Yeah. And actually, that's going to get exploited away. Another exploit off the top for aReNGee is going to be very timely. You always love to draw your exploit right after your opponent makes their big market play.
Oh, Reason can play everything now, so basically, banish Siditi.
And it's Siditi play World Bear Behemoth. Pretty good.
I wonder if you play Behemoth because of probable Equalize, but probably okay, or Titan, yes, play Titan.
Well, that's pretty good. Reason putting forward some really nice threats. So what is the difference here between the mono time deck that we saw didn't really perform super well today, and yet Reason's Xenon version, which has very many of the exact same cards, does? Is it just the disruption that the Shadow gives you?
It's a removal, yes, and disruption.
And D'Angelo Might to draw a bunch of cards.
Yes, true.
I guess that answers that question. See it here, folks.
Yeah, I'm not sure there is anything that would help aReNGee now. I mean, Equalize, like top deck Equalize and
top deck Equalize to kill both your units and discard 5 cards.
Yes,
you can still do it. Vara
is not the same. I probably would just sack Tokas for it, or not. I mean, you can go anyway.
Let's see if there's a way that Reason can. Well, Sudden Agent will do it.
Oh, now with this top deck, of course, he shouldn't have.
Yeah, what were you thinking, Reason? Didn't you know you were drawing Sudden Agent off the top? Now that unit is not going to do it, and that's going to be game.
That's not Equalize.
That is not Equalize. It might be 1 GG, but it is not Equalize.
So aReNGee now have to rely on somebody else beating Reason in the finals.
Right.